Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Before we jump into this one, let's first talk about that insane end of day close on Tesla. Tesla was grinding lower almost all day, and out of nowhere, 10 minutes before the market closed, the stock gapped up, 1 minute candle up $20 a share. Absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like this before. A lot of stuff going on with Tesla, a lot of volatility. It's going to be extremely interesting to see what happens Monday when they're included in the S&P 500. I have no expectations. I have no positions. I do own some shares, which I'm okay holding for, into the future years. I'm not going to sell them, even if we see some type of dip. But an awesome close, pretty entertaining to watch. The Discord chat was going off on it. Pretty fun. This is why we trade stocks. This volatility is awesome. If you guys saw that, comment down below. Let me know if you guys were in any positions, if you were watching the stock. Pretty cool to see. If you missed that move and you want to recap on it, I wrote about it today in the Options Insider, a completely free newsletter that I send out every single day on weekdays, giving you a recap on the market, on some stocks that are moving, and some important news. So if you want to sign up, it's going to be the second link in the description below. But anyways, I want to go ahead and talk about a swing trade that I'm currently holding. I think there's some good learning lessons and some things that I looked at that maybe you guys can learn from. So there was a huge gap down on Fastly stock a few months ago when they said that TikTok was not using their software as much as anticipated. So the stock gap down, which used a huge hole in the chart. And when stocks gap down like that on the daily chart, you will see that gap. I'll show it to you in today's video. Stocks tend to want to fill that gap. It's a trade that some traders like to do. It's a strategy that some people like to use. Also, just this week, Fastly broke a really important $100 resistance. And once we broke it, we saw a lot of buyers step in, which made me very bullish. And I think Fastly is on its way to fill that gap. So I entered some January call options. I called it out in the Discord chat. I gave my reasoning behind it. And in today's video, I want to recap that with you guys, show you what I took, show you why I took it, and hopefully it's something that you can take away. So before we jump into this one, you know what to do. Make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel for some future option trading technical analysis videos. Press the bell notification so you know every single time that I post on the channel. All right, so first, let's go ahead and recap the few reasons why I took this swing trade. Number one is that there is a large gap down on the chart. When a stock gaps down, it tends to want to fill that gap because there's not much resistance in between the top of the gap and the bottom of the gap. So I like this. I like for Fastly stock to fill that gap, and it's sitting at just around $120 a share. Fastly is right now at about $103. The second reason is that there was a really strong resistance area at $100 a share. We went ahead and we broke it this week, and this is somewhat of a breakout trade as well. Once we had that breakout, we had a lot of buyers flood in, and I'm definitely bullish because of it. So let's go ahead. We'll jump onto the charts. I'll show you the technical analysis. I'll show you the gap. I'll show you the breakout, and I'll show you the contracts that I'm currently holding. All right, guys, so I got Fastly's daily chart pulled up here. Let's go ahead and do some technical analysis on it. So here is the daily chart. Right here is the first thing you want to notice, and that is this big gap down right here. This is when the news came out that Fastly's software was not being used by TikTok as much as anticipated, and the stock gapped down over 30%. We've gapped down in the past over here. Back in July, right here was another gap down that we did go ahead and fill. So what do I mean when I say that the stock fills the gap? So back here in the past, we gapped down, let's say, from $108 a share. So that's where the stock was trading before we had a big gap down in the stock price. Now, eventually, the stock went ahead, over a few months, did go ahead and fill that gap. So right here is where the stock price went past the original gap down, and that's where the gap was filled. Now on this one, this current gap down, the price started at just around $120. So let's just say $122 is where the stock gapped from. Now where would the stock have to go for this gap to fill? That is right back to $122 a share. So if the stock does move back to the top of this gap, that would confirm that we had a gap fill. This happened in the past right here, and my bet is that it will happen again. You can see that on the daily chart, there is no trading right here, and that means there's not much resistance in this area, so the stock should be able to move pretty easily through this area, and it looks like we're somewhat on the way right now. A few other things that I want to note on the daily chart is that we have an extremely strong support area at $80 a share, which I really like. I know there's some downside support here, and we're moving off of it right now. The next is that we're holding a really nice uptrend on the daily chart starting back here We have a really nice uptrend moving up. Every time we hit the bottom of this trend, we're finding support and moving higher. I really like that as well. So I want to go ahead and go to the 4-hour chart where I'll show you that $100 resistance, and I'll show you how Fastly's chart is holding the 20-day moving average very nicely. So going over to the 4-hour chart, what we can see here, if I zoom out, which is a little bit too zoomed in, we'll zoom out on the 4-hour chart and we'll look at where that $100 resistance is. So right here, we have $100, and we've seen that in the past, we've been rejected off that level multiple times. We have a rejection back here in August, we have a rejection over here in July, and we have a few rejections in the past week over here on Fastly. So right here, we had a few rejections that I was watching, and there was a lot of sellers that were built up on that level. Now, just recently, we broke through it, and now we are continuing higher past it. So if I move this over to the hourly chart, we'll actually see this even easier. So right here, rejection at 100, another rejection at 100, and you'll see that there are some really big wicks here. So that means the stock moved up into that and closed lower. A lot of sellers built up over here in the last few weeks, and right here on this day, this was Thursday, we moved through it with some really nice support. We moved through it and actually held above it at market close. Today, we bounced right off of it once again, up to a high of $105 a share before giving some back here. But something you'll notice is that we're holding that 20-day moving average very nicely. So moving quickly back to the 4-hour chart, I want to show you the last thing why I like this trade. And you'll see that if we look at the 4-hour chart and we look at these moving averages over the last few weeks, the blue line is the 20-day, the yellow line is the 50-day, the green line is the 100-day. And what you'll see is that on this move higher, since around November 5th, we've really held that 20-day moving average. Every time we hit it, we get a really nice bounce off of it, and that makes me extremely bullish. When we fall back to the 50 or even the 100, there is really strong support. So I think that Fastly will continue on the trend on these moving averages. We broke past $100, and I think we are on our way to fill the gap up to around $120 a share. All right, so now let's go ahead, look at the contracts that I got, and I'll give you the reasoning behind them. So right here in the chat, we have the Fastly January 15th, 2021, 105 calls at 6.9. So spending about $690 with about, a few weeks on these calls. So January 15th is the expiration. I was talking to the chat saying that, we were watching the 9 EMA during the day. I was saying that if it would fall under the 9 EMA, I would get out for a small loss. But right around that time is where Fastly broke that $100 resistance, and I was, planning to swing these. So called it out there in the chat. I'll pull up the right now what profit I currently have on it. So here's the contracts, up about $75, just about 10% on these. Bought them at 6.9. They're currently trading at about 7.8, 7.5 on the bid. So currently in decent profit. I'm going to continue to watch this, continue to hold this swing trade. I have time of them, and I think Fastly is on a really nice uptrend that I am comfortable holding with. All right, guys, so that is the trade plan on Fastly. I like the gap down. I like for Fastly to go ahead and fill that gap, and I really like the $100 break and the moving averages that it's currently holding. Obviously, don't just get into this trade because I'm making this video. I do still think there's some time for Fastly if you want to get in this to target that $120 area, but do your own due diligence. This is not a recommendation. This is all for educational and entertainment purposes only. At the end of the day, I made a trading plan. I have a few reasons and confirmations why I got into it. If it doesn't work out, if the technical analysis doesn't hold up, I'll take my losses and I'll move on to the next opportunity. We'll see what happens with this trade. I'll continue to watch Fastly stock, and if anything breaks down, any technical analysis that I was watching breaks down, I'll definitely make sure to get out of this trade for a small loss or even break even. You can follow along with me on YouTube, or you can join the Discord chat where I post all of my trades every single time that I take them. And we have 1,300 other traders posting all their trades, talking to the members, teaching each other. Overall, a great community. If you're just starting out with options trading, it's going to be the first link in the description below. So guys, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to smash that like button. It'll really help out the video and the channel. Subscribe for some new videos. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I hope to see you in the video on Wednesday. Peace.